The names began at the very start of the wall. And as you can see, there are way too many names. I didn't think I would find one name in particular. And as you watch this video, I'm going to tell you about him. I met him in the 5th grade. And we became friends immediately. We had a crew of about 5 or 6 cats. And the thing was, is he used to put a lot of hair grease into his hair because he wanted waves. And we would make fun of him because even though they were wavy, they had that gray grease, or that greasy, had that greasy look about his waves. And 2 people in particular used to get on him all the time. And eventually, for us, it was tired. It was sickening. Nobody felt like doing it no more. But these two guys just decided they were just gonna rag him all the time about him. And I admired his resolve, because every day he came to school with those waves. He has just about every trophy I have, except for when he played. His little league church team played against our little league church team. His church team didn't have a basketball team, so I got trophies from that, and he didn't get any of those, And when we played for our junior high school team, during the summer, we used to play against high school teams. And in this one particular day, we played a high school team, and we beat them, by the way. And on our way home, we was exhilarated. Riding our bikes home, we stopped in a park to run another 5-court, full-court game against the local team that they have. We come in there, we got 5, get 5, let's go. They came up with 5 guys we were playing. And our center and our 2 forwards kept ragging the guys that were guarding them about how bad we were beating them. We were running over them guys. I mean, they didn't stand a chance. But there was no need for them to keep getting in their face and talking about how bad we're beating them. It's bad enough we're beating them. So the other guard and I kept telling them, yo, man, would y'all shut up, man? Let's get this game over with, man. Why y'all keep bugging them, man? We already beating the daylights out of them. Why you want to get all in their face too, And they wouldn't listen to us. So the center decided he was going to go get somebody. So he went and got some of his boys and came back and beat the daylights out of the center and the 2 forwards, Him and his boys did a job on them. And me and the guard just stood at half court and watched it, and as they getting beat up, we was say, we told you, We just kept telling, we started ragging them. We told you to shut up, And the thing about it is, my man got on his bike and rode out of the park without telling anybody anything. He didn't say, yo, man, let's get out of here. He didn't say anything. He just got on his bike and left. And for years after that, we would get on him, man, talking about how he cut out on us, and it was all funny by this time, The way we graduated from high school, we didn't graduate until around January, just before the spring semester. And we wasn't going to get our diplomas until the end of the spring semester, because our attendance wasn't as good as it should. So they was going to hold up our diplomas until the end of June. So 3 of us went to the dean's office, and I asked the secretary or whoever the lady was, did she have our diplomas? And she went to the file cabinet, pulled all 3 of them out. And as she was walking toward us, she began telling us why, because each one of them had a piece of paper on it that was explaining why we couldn't get our diplomas. So as soon as she got in range, I snatched all 3 of them out of her hand and we ran out. And that was how we graduated from high school. Started using drugs, so I didn't see very much of them really. But when we did run into each other, we would catch up on what's been happening, Who died recently, because in those days people were dying from overdoses of drugs. I mean, I lost a lot of friends back then, right out of high school, So we would always talk about who died last, that kind of thing. Then I heard he had gone into the service. I hadn't seen him before he went in, and I hadn't seen him even when he came home on leave. But when I found out that he had gotten orders to go to Vietnam, and he was leaving the very next day, I made a point to track him down. I found somebody that knew where he was, so we walked all the way over there. It was a pretty good walk, and I stayed outside while he went in to see if he was there. And when he was there, I was surprised that he came out with him. As it turns out, this was his girlfriend's house, and his girlfriend had just cut him loose. I mean, how do you break up with a guy you know is going to Vietnam the next day? So I bought him a pint of wine and lit up a joint, and we started walking home and started smoking and walking home. By the time we got close to home and where the neighborhood bar was, the crew from the 5th grade was together, you know. So we went into the bar and we drank and we smoked and we drank and we smoked. And at 4 o'clock, when the bar closed and made us go home, we all gave each other the power handshake, and that was the last time I saw him. The next time I heard about him was when my mother told me that he had gotten killed in Vietnam. The thing about that was I was calling home to tell her that I had just gotten my orders to go to Vietnam. And it was a double blow to me. He was dead, and here I was going to get killed. I had gotten wounded, and I ended up in the hospital here in my neighborhood. And when this man found out that I lived in the neighborhood, he was the first person he asked me about. Did I know him? I said, do I know him? And I told him a little more about him than what I'm telling you. But we had a lot more time, you know. He told me he was with him when he died and told me the story about how he died. They took a deuce and a quarter, which is a truck, full with GIs in the back, into the nearest town. And they partied and hung out and did what GIs do when they go to town. And they hit a landmine on their way back to the base. The man that was talking to me was the only one that lived. And he was still barely getting around with a cane. And this was like 8 months after he had gotten wounded. This man has been in the hospital for the last 8 months, recuperating. I had heard that he had died, my friend had died, on the plane going to Vietnam, and his family was going to sue because of that fact. So when I was speaking to the man that was with him, I had asked him, what happened with the plane thing? He had told me that he had overdosed on the plane and did stop breathing. But they resuscitated him, brought him back. That's why they made him stay in Vietnam. Everyone here thought he had a heart attack or something, but as it turned out, he had overdosed on drugs. So they wasn't going to put him in jail. They were just going to make him do his Vietnam tour. Now, he'd never been to my house, and I had only been to his once. But when trials came up, or a party, or playing basketball in the park, or even walking from one place to another, he would always show up. Oh, here he is now.